We gotta dance together, dance together. Oh, he's alive.
Yahweh, sin. I have a different.
17-year-old Joey Lowenstein, who has autism, snows everyone with his sports skills and communicates with a letterboard.
People with mental health issues should be loved and sincerely supported by the community.
19-year-old Chiara de Blasio, daughter of the New York City mayor, publicly admitted her battle with depression and alcohol and drug use.
I've had depression, like clinical depression, for like my entire adolescence. And so that's been something that I've always dealt with or not known how to deal with.
Marie was bullied and suffered low self-esteem.
At the age of 5, I took a knife to my stomach, and at the age of 12, I tried to set my family house on fire.
The number of young people suffering from depression, bullying, and other mental health and behavioral problems is staggering, up to 1 in 5. Many suffer in what I call the 3 S's: shame, stigma, and silence. But awareness and improvement is happening in the public, for governments, and even here at the United Nations. This year's campaign by the World Health Organization is on the theme Depression, Let's Talk, a message that was highlighted recently at the United Nations during an International Youth Day focusing on mental health matters, and at a recent conference by WHO and the World Bank called Out of the Shadows, Making Mental Health a Global Development Priority.
I was a victim or target of cyberbullying attacks. I felt depressed, anxious, and developed suicidal thoughts. I live with anxiety every single day, but I'm not ashamed, so I talk about it because it can help other people.
As more voices speak out, more governments are listening. On the local level, New York City's unique mental health plan encourages open conversation about mental health presented at the UN. World governments are also listening. In a historic move, the promotion of mental health and well-being was included in the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, with a campaign at the UN as a partnership between government, led by Palau's Ambassador Caleb Otto, and civil society that I led for the Psychology Coalition of NGOs accredited at the UN.
Recognizing that the world cannot be sustainable unless people's well-being is also embraced. This is a very important breakthrough. It legitimizes the whole concept of mental well-being as something that deserves serious global responses, that requires and deserves serious governmental responses, that requires the attention of policymakers.
There is a big economic cost associated with mental illness, and when it occurs among young people, it can become a lifetime impediment. So it's got to be addressed. Older people also have challenges arising from mental illness. And one of the advantages of having a sustainable development goal specifically focused in that area is that it starts to take away the stigma.
When you talk about mental health, its definition is derivative from how WHO define health. And that is, it is not just the absence of disease. And that's why health or mental health in particular requires a continuing, a concerted, a focused, holistic approach.
And given rise to a new and unique culture.
It tears me apart to see young people discarded on the streets, left to roam because they're quote-unquote abnormal in their behavior. I would like to see that eradicated. The importance of mental health being recognized at the United Nations in Goal 3 is that it raises the issue to an international level.
More governments are taking leadership.
Raising awareness and talking about this issue is the first step to ensuring that we can overcome the stigma associated with mental illness.
My country, Belgium, is a strong advocate for the promotion of mental health and well-being as an important priority within global health and the broader 2030 agenda.
I'm not sure Liberia or any country in this world can achieve the SDG unless and until that nation is mentally well.
And our ongoing government NGO partnership organizes events at the UN, like this one where Marie spoke, and this one during the Commission for Social Development on promoting mental health and well-being for youth as a strategy for social integration and poverty eradication. With this original play,
Nobody believe in me. I'm done!
also impressive programs from around the world were showcased that can be scaled up and replicated. In Africa, on the border of eastern Congo and Burundi, this Hope and Health Vision program provides psychosocial support and vocational training and education for street kids, orphans, and child soldiers. This program in Afghanistan.
اجتماعی اطفال که از طرف مؤسسه تابش در یکی از IDP کمپ‌ها به نام فارم اعدا تأسیس شده است.
فامیل محل بسازم و تا جایی که من توانم به حساب برسم من بتونم امرای مردم خود کمک بکنم.
This event featured the use of artificial intelligence and technology tools to bridge the mental health treatment gap.
Alexa, I'm depressed.
I'm so sorry you are feeling that way. Please know that you're not alone. There are people who can help you.
Events at UN conferences about disaster risk reduction in Sendai and Cancun stress the importance of psychosocial resilience besides infrastructural resilience.
That psychosocial resilience be highlighted in all discussions regarding resilience, included in all outcome documents and in all programs and policies regarding disaster risk reduction.
This event at the UN emphasized the long-term need for psychosocial support after epidemics, sponsored by Sierra Leone and 8 co-sponsoring missions.
While increasing investment in the hardware such as hospital and laboratory, we need to also upgrade software by raising awareness, improving contingency mechanisms, and offering psychological counseling.
It is logical for us to promote the One Health concept.
It has a psychological impact on people, especially children, since thousands of them are living today through the deaths of their family members or their mothers and other family members. And here there is a call on the international community to continue that, and from our part, Morocco will definitely continue.
You can continue to count on our support and Canada's voice in advocating, as you so rightly said, through the leadership of our Prime Minister.
All these events showed Target 3.4 about promoting mental health and well-being at the heart of the SDGs, interlinked with all other goals.
The international community gave itself the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The mental health and well-being is at the center of that.
These interlinkages are demonstrated in these projects I've done around the world. About eradicating poverty.
We're going to find our dream. So this says in Swahili, read this aloud to everybody. Right.
Ensuring girls' empowerment.
I want to know how to run my own business.
I want to be a strong woman.
And building psychosocial resilience against natural disasters. Health emergencies like Ebola.
We can beat Ebola. Beat Ebola. Oh, peace alive.
And refugeeism.
Jump in, jump out, introduce yourself.
Psychosocial issues in refugeeism are critical and must be addressed, especially in the Global Compact on Refugees.
Mental health concerns, therefore, have the potential to undermine the adaptation processes of many refugees and must therefore be considered as an important part of their resettlement programs.
It is important for our countries to keep investing in mental health care and psychological support. After all, the returns in terms of general health, social and economic benefits are significant.
Even countries that are more developed, such as Lebanon, is also very overwhelmed by the mental health needs of the Syrian refugee crisis, given that in Lebanon now 1/4 of the population are refugees, which is overwhelming the health systems there.
90% of young people experiencing mental health conditions live in low-income countries. This leaves young people stuck in poverty with mental health issues that stay with them for the rest of their lives.
Depression and anxiety disorders alone cost more than $1 trillion worth of economic loss every year. The most common mental health disorders can be prevented and treated at very low cost.
We're proud that Canada has been acknowledged by the World Health Organization as one of the world's leading funders of global mental health innovation.
Impressively, young people are starting initiatives. Marie, who became a beauty queen and is now studying to be a lawyer, started a nonprofit doing workshops in Ghana and New York and is building a school.
I hope that one day this whole world, children and adults, will talk about mental health freely without being ashamed. That is my dream.
Yes, I've gone to war and I survived.